The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gohmert, for 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. And Attorney General Sessions, always good to see you. And
thank you.
It's end of a short hearing, looks like, unless somebody else comes in. First of all, you know, it seemed like to me you got mistreated a little bit. There were questions about your answer to Senator Franken's question, and you know, I've got a copy of what he said. Now, he is explaining his question. He said, if there's evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do? And then we even had somebody offer into the record that Mother Jones basically said you lied. And I would submit this committee doesn't need Mother Jones to inaccurately describe or depict or tell us what happened when we can look at the conversation and see for ourselves. So let me ask you, was your meeting with the Russian diplomats, was that in the course and scope of your obligations with the campaign or in the course and scope of your duties as a United States Senator?
Well, really, they were mostly official business.
As a U.S. Senator.
I did speak at the Republican convention, but the conversation on the floor after I finished my remarks were brief, and and then with regard to the meeting in my office, it was substantively, essentially, about foreign relations between the United States and
so what
like
you talked about with them there at the convention was not about a presidential campaign of Donald Trump. It was as in your capacity as a United States Senator, correct?
Well, I think so. You could say, I guess, that I was invited for other reasons, but
now, when you had talked before about that you had consulted with the career people about whether or not to recuse yourself, can you tell us whether or not one of those people with whom you consulted was Rod Rosenstein?
Yes, I could say how that occurred.
But did you? No, I'm just asking
I understand.
if you did.
So I was just thinking out loud whether that's a kind of consultative relationships that
I'm not asking
I should
you to reveal
reveal.
what was said.
I talked to another senior official in the Department of Justice who holds a position, and he also consults others within the department before he makes opinions.
Well, were you aware when you recused yourself of the investigation by the Justice Department into Yandex's email account, Schlapai 2009 at Yandex RU, Google email account, marvijodel at gmail.com. Are you aware of those, the criminal complaint? No?
No.
All right. Were you aware that, and I've got a motion to seal here.
I don't think so. I'll just say it that way.
Well, yeah. Well, this was an investigation into Russia trying to corner the market with U.S. uranium. And there is actually a motion to seal. I'm sure you've filed them many times as a U.S. attorney. And one is respectfully submitted. Rod J. Rosenstein, U.S. attorney, and Adam Akey is the assistant U.S. attorney, asking Judge William Connolly to have this Russian investigation, the investigation into the Russian effort to corner our market, to seal those records. So you were not aware that Rosenstein had had this prior dealing with Russian uranium before you recused yourself, had you? You weren't aware of that, right?
Well, my recusal that we made public was for the Mueller investigation, the campaign.
Right.
Russian
well, but that's Mueller was appointed, but you weren't aware that Mueller had been central in the investigation before Jim Comey took over at the FBI, September of 2013. So you were not aware of the Mueller-Comey investigation into Russian uranium, were you, before you recused yourself?
I don't think so. No, I was not, of course. I wasn't in the Department of Justice and wasn't aware of that when it was going on.
My time's run out, but we've got a chart here that shows just how integral the relationship is with Mr. Rosenstein, Mr. Mueller, into this whole Uranium One thing. It sure stinks to high heaven, and it doesn't appear to me they ought to be involved in investigating. But my time's run out, and I sure appreciate your service.
Thank you. I appreciate your service. Mr. Chairman, I would just note that the matter that was prosecuted concerning uranium or Russian business companies years after this CFIUS investigation, and that's when Mr. Rosenstein handled it. It was brought to his office. It didn't hit his office until 2 years afterwards, and it's really unrelated to the allegations about Uranium One.